Thank you very much, Prof Mashifana. I'm sorry that you felt rushed, because in fact we've got some time for discussion and questions. So do feel free to give long responses. Let's hear from Thabo Monyatsi, who's put up his hand.
Afternoon, everyone.
Good
I hope
afternoon.
I'm audible enough. My question is just brief to ask Prof. With this amazing work that she has been doing, I'm very impressed of how she identified problems and solutions to those problems. She mentioned the need for collaboration. So with that collaboration, I'm just interested to know like how she is involving NGOs as part of the communities at which these problems arise from, because I think we need all the major players to solve this crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, Thabo.
Thank you, Thabo, for that question. So I think how I will answer that is really in terms of, and I'll give one project, the project on plastic waste to building materials. And what we're really looking into is the entire value chain. And we are fully aware that there are NGOs that are operating in that space, as in the recycling space, where they are collecting plastic bottles in their communities and so forth. So this is also one of the projects that we are really looking into taking it or the solution to the market. And in terms of now that particular value chain, we are really looking into collaborating with NPOs that are working in that space, or NGOs, and they can actually supply us with the material. And I think most of the work that we have done so far is work that we have done in the laboratory. And the question is critical, because when we have to now go into the market or commercialization, we are correct in saying that all the critical stakeholders need to be part of that. Most of these industries are operating within communities, right? So how do we also involve community to show that there is also that transition in terms of our circularity? So I think for that particular one project that is ready now, we are moving there to another level. We are considering collaborating with our NGOs that are operating in the space, so that they can be suppliers of some of this waste. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you, Tebogo. Okay, any other questions? There's a comment by Christopher van Staden, but I think it's not directly related. You've certainly given us some food for thought in terms of dealing with the water hyacinth of the Hartbeespoort Dam. That is extremely interesting. Is there a way of extracting the heavy metals from the plants once the plants have been removed?
There should be. I never thought of that. It is now my project. It is definitely my project now. Now I'm definitely going to look at that, because what we have been looking at now is to actually turn that into an adsorbent. So we subject that under the conditions that we require, so that that becomes like a ash-like material, and then we make that use that as an absorbent. That is actually interesting. I'm definitely on my list. I've listed it here.
Great.
Thank you for that idea.
just give me credit, right? When you get your Nobel Prize.
Definitely. I will do. Thank you.
Thanks, Tebogo. Sipho.
Thank you, Prof, for that wonderful presentation. It's really impressive when you see research projects having potential to turn into something that you can like realistically solve a problem. So my question is related to the first question that was raised. Like when you are turning to waste into building material, I just want to know, what is the current buy-in of the government as well as the companies that are in the construction industry, looking into like competition-wise? Are they buying into your idea? Are they looking forward to collaborate, or they feel like you are entirely a competition that is here to destroy them? Second one is going to be, if we are saying let's turn plastics into wastes, I mean plastic waste into building blocks, right? Are you suggesting that the the production of plastic must never stop, even though it contributes to environmental degradation? Or how do we strike a balance there? I hope I made sense. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Sipho, for the questions. So the first questions to answer that, what is the buy-in of government and maybe the competitors in the market? I would say that in terms of the government, so I think most of my first part of this year, I have been engaging with government. There's no one, even the funders, the big funders in South Africa, I have engaged with them. And specifically, it was a presentation on the one that you're mentioning now, the plastic waste to a building material. The government is keen to actually, these are some of the solutions that they are looking for. They are really, really looking for these solutions. But then I think what is happening now is because of the technology readiness level. We are at the technology readiness level 4, and they are saying that just move it further. We don't want to see a brick, we want to see a house. So that is what we are looking at now. We are at the point where we are developing these specimens, and we want to build a house so that they can, like the people that, because if you are not in the space, I don't want to see PowerPoint presentation. I want to see, if you say that this can make a house or can build a house, let me see a house. So we are actually right there to build a house, so that when we talk about this, we bring them on the side so that they see the house that we will have built. And in terms of now the competitors, and so the people that are generating the waste are keen on this, because we will be taking their waste. And one of the bricks that we have made here with the plastic is we actually use found recent. And because of the found recent, so what is happening in South Africa is that the people in that space, they are paying penalties to dispose that of, or is also occupying spaces in their facilities. So they want that to be used. They want someone to get rid of that. So they are very keen with that. But obviously the issue now of competitors, but we actually, one of the things that we are looking into is that, yes, we want to go into manufacturing, but we do not want to, we want to see our competitors as our potential customers. In what manner? The bricks that we have seen about plastic waste and solid waste, it does not use cement, it does not use water. So it's plastic and solid waste. Those are the two products, raw material that we are using. And then what we can do with that, we are looking into a business model where we can actually produce fine-like materials from our raw materials, and we can actually give it to, say, Coral Brick. Coral Brick can actually use that in their mixed design and somehow supplement cement. I hope I've answered that, Asipo. And in terms of, yes, no, definitely not. I'm not saying that we should, I think we should continue polluting. The reality is that pollution is happening. I think your question is also related to the water hyacinth problem. That is what I always get to say, that, okay, so if you are developing products from water hyacinth, are you saying that we should continue having this problem? The reality is that the plastic problem is not something that is going to be, is going to stop now. So until our processes in South Africa are able to be, to move from linear to circular processes, we are going to continuously generate this kind of waste. And then, so what happens in the meantime while this waste is being generated? That is what we are doing to solve that particular problem. I hope I've answered you, Sipho.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you.
Fantastic, Prof. This is so exciting. There are some comments here. Thank you, Prof Tebogo, for informative presentations. Then Denver Naidu says, what regulatory and monitoring mechanisms are needed to ensure that innovative industrial waste remediation solutions remain carbon neutral? Sure.
Yeah, that's Denver and Naidu. That is it's I think for me, I wouldn't really, probably not answer that directly, but obviously one of the things that I've touched on, I think on my last slide, is in terms of all these key stakeholders to come on board. And I think especially when we're talking about innovative industrial waste, there is really no regulations that govern that in South Africa. And I'll give you an example. A few years ago, and it's still the reality today, is that waste found percent in South Africa is actually, you look at that, it actually sometimes it is cleaner than some of the silica sand that is used for building and construction. but there's actually a regulation that has classified waste found sand as being hazardous. So because it has been classified as being hazardous, it means that it limits its application. So we need to, so for instance, then to answer that is that we need people that, the people that must be on the table are people that you need to take along, I think, when you are busy developing these processes, so that you don't get to the other side where we have a prototype, we want to go to the market, and look, they're saying that, no, you cannot use this particular material to ensure that I mean, we cannot use this material because it's hazardous or whatsoever. I think then in terms of that, we must start with the regulation first. Does that exist? Unfortunately, in the space that is developing, it is really not there. But I think one of the interesting conversations that I've had in recent months was with SAPS, because most of these products, for instance, if I have a brick that is from industrial waste, for me to get that brick to a retailer, they need certification. And one conversation I've had was like, no, we do not have the certificate for that. But what they actually said they were willing to do is begin to co-create the standards with me, so that we are able to address that issue. So I hope I've tried to answer that, even though it is not direct. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but that is very interesting indeed. Tebogo, can I ask you, are you working with the Technology Innovation Agency? Have you received support from them at all?
Not necessarily. I started working with them actually lately. I think last year. There's a program that I'm part of. I was part of the Global Fintech Technology Innovation Program, but I've not received any funding from them as yet. But they are aware. I think in the near future they should be able to provide the assistance that we require.
Okay, it does seem to me like you would need that assistance. I mean, to build a house is basically to develop a prototype that can be rolled out, and they give a certain amount of support for that. So I would say keep knocking.
I will do. Thank you so much.
Tabo Monyati says, claps hands and says, Prof, I'm also in the space of using waste solids into valuables. I'm looking towards taking the conversation with you. So
I will drop you my email address, Tabo.
That is great. Okay. Let me see if there are any hands up. No hands up. Actually, I pressed the wrong button, but there are no hands up at the moment. Hey. Nontimbeko says, I share Tabu's sentiments. Expect my email, Prof Tebogo. So you're really making an impression here, Prof. This is being very useful. Christoph van Staden says, it is related, so because we were talking about rivers. Okay, so Christoph van Staden says, I need to know why the management of the Vaal Dam leave the dam to fill up to 118%, while live data shows that lots of water is still on the way. And then the gates are opened hourly, sending a wall of 7-meter high water downstream. It happened in 2010, 2011, 2023, and this year. In 2025, the dam was at only 30% water. Now it's already filled above 100%. The dam should be managed in a way that man-made floods are prevented. If the gates are opened in time, the wall will not be that high and the damage can be controlled. If they need manpower, we can offer assistance free of charge. Who can we contact to offer our assistance? The indicator meters are not calibrated, thus the water level is much higher at actual places than indicated on the Department of Water Affairs website. One of yesterday's speakers said they need help and we can offer help. We also like to help with research in this regard. Any responses to that? Does anyone know which department would be useful to engage? On Christoph van Staden's question. I think we'll have to see if there's a response on the Q&A, Christa, and maybe we can return to that question later on. Okay, we've just got a few minutes before the next speaker, but these were very interesting solutions that Prof Mashifana is working on. I'm looking at my notes, recovery of silicon dioxide from waste foundry sand and alkaline activation of desiccated foundry sand. That looks extremely interesting. Could you say a few more words about that, Tebogo?
Yes. So in that particular project, yes, we actually looked into the recovery of the resource. In this particular one, that was silica, because a found sand, it actually has a very high concentration of silicate and silicate and aluminium. So we were actually looking into recovering some of that resource. And the last part of the desilication, that is the desilication, it was us removing silica from the waste, and the last part, then the alkaline activation of that, was us now taking the solid waste, that because you have solid waste, then you remove your silica. But then in the process of doing that, you will be left with the solid material. What do you do with that solid material? That is, then we use that solid material to make a building and construction a product. So that there is zero generation of waste in the process, yes.
Right. So does it, when you've processed it, is it still in the form of sand, or do you make it into bricks or something else?
Okay, so I said I did not. It actually it is in the form of powder. So it's a white powder. I did not share that picture. So the silica itself is so you see there's a solution that is there on that presentation. We can now precipitate that to a powder. So it comes in a powder form. It's a white powder. You literally get a black founder sand. The final product becomes this white powder as silica, which you can use for other different applications.
I see. Okay, is that what you were referring to when you said that Coro Brick, for example, might be able to incorporate that in their brick making process?
No, it is not that. What I was referring to is the plastic waste project, the plastic waste. So the raw material for that is plastic waste and some solid waste that we are using. So instead of us making a brick, we can actually take that mix of solid waste and plastic waste. We would have really designed it in a way that, or at the standard that can be used as a binder for Coro Brick and other construction manufacturers.
Right. We had someone asking about acid mine drainage yesterday. So you're working on that as well. So I would love to hear more about that.
Oh, but okay, yes. So I'm going to be very quick. The issue of acid mine drainage is a big one in South Africa, as I've indicated. So our approach to that, like I've indicated, that is to really move away from your normal commercial products. So it's for us to use solid waste to treat acid mine drainage of any kind of wastewater. So in this particular project, what we have done, we have actually used slag that I've spoken about. That slag, we've made geopolymers from that. And then in the column that I've shown you, we have pegged them accordingly and pumping the acid mine drainage into that. So you have an input into this column of that is stacked with your geopolymers from waste material, and the output from that will be the clean water that you might use as potable water.
Fantastic. That is just so great to hear. And that makes the link for us with the, it's not just with the cleaning up of the environment, but cleaning up of the water, which is a major issue that we are talking about.
Sorry, Johnson. I just see one question from Annie saying that, asking if I have conducted any civil schools. So my PhD is actually in civil engineering. So I do work with civil engineers, but I've got expertise also in civil engineering. But I do collaborate with them because I'm a chemical engineer, but my PhD was in civil engineering. But also fully aware that my knowledge in that is limited. So I do collaborate with civil engineers in the project. Thank you.